I am deeply honored to have been asked to provide the Tea Party citizens' response to the State of the Union address that many of you just heard from President Obama. Now, many people are probably Tea Party people, and they don't know it. Because if you believe in less taxes, less government, the free market system, more individual responsibility, and enforcing the Constitution, you are a Tea Party person, but you may not know it. A lot of people don't know that they're Tea Party people because the political elites, as well as the media elites, have tried to marginalize this movement. It will not be denied. It is stronger and growing as much as ever before. In the president's speech tonight, we heard more well-scripted rhetoric. We heard more proclamations of how well we are doing in certain areas. We heard more promises of working on various problems. We heard more class warfare, where the president and his administration still wants to manipulate the tax code and pick winners and losers, reward some, and open up new loopholes for others. We heard more excuses and blame, and attacks on businesses, and attacks on Congress for what they have not done. In a word, I heard this speech and it came across as a hodgepodge of little ideas. No big ideas that would fundamentally change how things work in Washington. No big idea that would dramatically impact job growth and economic growth in this country. Now, let me tell you what we did not hear. We did not hear the real facts about the State of the Union. Facts don't lie. Here's some of the facts you did not hear. Unemployment. The December unemployment rate was reported to be 8.5%. But if you add in the people who have been looking for so long that they have stopped looking and they're discouraged, and you add in the 8 million people that are underemployed, the real rate of unemployment is 18%. It's a matter of how you want to count it. Economic growth. Our economic growth in the last 3 years has been anemic. In 2011 alone, it was less than 2%. If we were really in a recovery, our GDP growth should be around 5% per annum. And that's still only half of what countries like China are experiencing in terms of their economic growth. Gasoline prices are almost double what they were when President Obama took office. Why? It's real simple. We do not have a cohesive, common sense energy independence strategy. We did not hear about how Obamacare is coming up short of what the president and his administration thought that it would. It was supposed to help bring down health care costs. It has not. It was supposed to help keep health insurance costs down. It did not. Hundreds and hundreds of companies are asking for waivers in order to be able to try to keep the health insurance plan that they have, because if they convert over to Obamacare, they won't be able to afford it. They may not be able to provide health insurance to their employees at all. Obamacare simply needs to be repealed because it was forced down our throats to begin with. We also did not hear about the out-of-control spending, our national debt. It is now over $15 trillion, and the president is already asking for another $1.2 trillion to add on to that. Our national debt has become a national disgrace. Allow me to put it in another perspective. In 1999, my first grandchild was born. In 1999, the national debt for every man, woman, and child living in this country was nearly $21,000. New Year's Day of this year, my fourth grandchild was born. The day he was born, New Year's Day 2012, before he took his first breath, the debt that every man, woman, and child, the debt that he inherited, nearly $50,000. And it appears as if there is no end in sight. Worse yet, our national debt exceeds our GDP growth. We're starting to look just like some of the European countries that are facing a spending crisis. That's not where the American people want us to be, but that's where we are, because the spending has not stopped and the economic engine of this country has not taken off. And so I say in response, on behalf of the Tea Party and citizen people across this country, with all due respect, Mr. President, some of us are not stupid. The state of the union is not good. We want common sense solutions. That's how we do it outside of Washington. And we happen to believe that we need more common sense solutions inside of Washington. The American people, the Tea Party people, we know that this nation is broke. Not almost broke, it is broke. And Washington is broken. We can't spend our way to prosperity, even though the president continues to propose ideas for more spending, more agencies, and more entities on top of the overbloated government that we already have. We also can't tax our way out of debt. Not until we get this economy growing. The president didn't talk a lot about that because that's what's missing in this equation in the big scheme of things. The people of this country that I've talked to and listened to, and the Tea Party people that I've worked with and seen, they believe that we deserve better. We deserve better than what we have. Why? Because America is an exceptional nation. We deserve a fairer and simpler tax code. Many of the changes that the president talked about tonight was still manipulating around the edges for the benefit of some and for the lack of a benefit to others. We need a bold tax code, a bold solution that starts with throwing out the current tax code that we have and putting in a structure that's fair to everyone equally, fair and treats all businesses the same. Put in a structure that will not allow the politicians in Washington to try and pick the winners and the losers. We deserve an energy independence plan. Made in America is possible if we maximize all of our energy resources right here at home. We deserve a balanced budget, period. We have been on this path of spending for decades now. And our elected leaders, including the president, have got to get serious about a balanced budget. We deserve a government that listens to its people rather than a government that ignores its people. We deserve a strong military, not a weakening military. The people of this country believe in that principle of peace through strength and clarity. But yet, under this administration, our military has been cut and cut and cut. We deserve a brighter future for our grandchildren instead of the nightmare scenario we are facing that the president is in denial of. We deserve, as a nation, to put the word united back into the United States of America. Mr. President, stop the class warfare. Discourage your surrogates from making racial innuendos. Stop the attacks on business. Stop the attacks on citizens by making government too big. And Mr. President, most of all, stop the blame game. You know, it was 1773 when the colonists got fed up with old King George and the Brits. And their act of defiance was the Boston Tea Party in 1773. 2 years later, we had the start of the American Revolution. 8 years later, we won. We can do it again. We need another revolution. This time it will not be about bombs and bullets. It's going to be about brains and ballots at the ballot box. Washington is out of touch with the people because there are times they forget that they work for us. We must remind them. We the people are coming. That's the Tea Party message to Washington, the president, and his administration. We the people are coming, and we know that we are up against Goliath. But this is why the Tea Party movement will become not a single David trying to slay Goliath. We will be an army of Davids. The Tea Party movement is alive and well. And contrary to what the media elites and the establishment want you to believe, it is going to continue to redefine the political landscape in 2012. We the people are coming. We want our power back. Thank you for listening. God is blessing America. Join the movement. I'm Herman Cain.
Mr. Cain, we'll have about 5 minutes to spend answering some questions. We'll just do it right here since everybody's all set up. Are you ready, Mr. Cain? Okay.
Ready. Yes. Yes.
President Obama in his speech said that anyone who thinks that America is no longer its best place is wrong, and basically availed some of the GOP candidates. What do you think about that statement?
Say the first part again. I didn't quite get to it.
President Obama said in his speech, basically he said something like that anybody who thinks that the best days of the United States are behind us are wrong, and basically summarizing a lot of what many of the GOP candidates have said on the campaign very recently. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? What do you think?
I totally disagree with the statement that the president made. The president needs to get out of the White House, get out of Washington, D.C., and go and talk to some of the 15 million people who don't have jobs, talk to some of the 8 million people who can't find a job commensurate with their skill, their education, and their previous experience. I believe that all of Washington is out of touch with the people. That's what this whole Tea Party movement is about. And I also believe that the administration is even more out of touch. I think they're living in a cocoon, quite frankly. So when he says that people who think that this country is not crumbling don't know what they're talking about, not the places that I have been going and not from the people that I have been listening to. Yes.
Catherine Sirks, I'm curious what you thought when he invoked the quote from President Lincoln and made it specifically that it was a Republican and that government, the least government quote trying to sound like a conservative with a limited government message? I mean, I'm just particularly interested in your reaction to citing Lincoln.
The fact that he cited Lincoln was very clever, since Lincoln was a Republican. But as we were listening to his speech, he named at last count at least 7 or 8 new entities that were going to be created, which to me sounds like more government. So the fact that he quoted Lincoln about government being smaller, it didn't match the ideas that he put on the table tonight. So in my opinion, it was contradictory of what he was trying to draw as a parallel with Lincoln, with what he had in that particular speech. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm James Grimaldi. What people really want to know is who do you think will be best to defeat Barack Obama? There are 2 candidates left, Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney. Who do you endorse?
I happen to think that they can both beat Barack Obama if Governor Romney has a different set of ifs than Speaker Gingrich's ifs. I happen to believe that if Governor Romney gets the nomination, his big if is he's got to be more specific with his economic growth and jobs plan. The 59-point plan that I have looked at ain't going to cut it. The American people don't get it. It'll never pass Congress because it's a hodgepodge of things in it. And secondly, if he is more specific with a lot of his ideas, that's what I believe that Governor Romney would have to do differently in order to beat President Obama. His debating skills are strong. And we know that Speaker Gingrich, his debating skills are superior. But Speaker Gingrich also has some ifs. And one of his big ifs is if he can shake off these attacks of how he left Congress back in the 1990s. He's also going to have to be able to battle all of the negatives that we know are going to come from the Democrats and come from the administration. I believe that they are both outstanding candidates. I'm not personally endorsing either one of them at this point because my main objective is to help keep the voters focused on solutions, because we also need to get excited about down-ticket candidates so we can take back the Senate and maintain control of the House as well.
We have time for about one more question.
Yes.
You and Newt Gingrich faced allegations from women, but it seems as though you two had different fates. Your poll numbers went down, yet Gingrich went on to win South Carolina. Why do you think you two had such different fates?
I believe that because the false attacks against me came early in the process, the American people are waking up to dirty gutter politics. When the attacks went against Speaker Gingrich in Iowa, he suffered in terms of some of the votes he got at the poll in the caucuses. And then the attacks have continued and continued and continued. And then the other attacks, carefully timed just before the South Carolina primary, it backfired because the American voters are saying, we ain't stupid. They know it was well timed and planned. And people are waking up to the dirty side of politics. They hadn't awakened totally to the dirty, negative side of politics when I was first attacked. But I happen to believe that people are waking up, and this is why, even though that was well coordinated, even in Florida now, Newt's surge continues. So it was a difference primarily because of timing. Yes, I do one more.
Sir, coming from a younger generation, what would you think about Stephen Colbert's endorsement of you?
I think Stephen Colbert's endorsement of me is a marvelous thing. And here's why. One of the other things that I and my organization has as an objective is to keep the youth vote inspired, keep the college vote inspired. They're not going to go and watch the shows that some of us more mature people watch to find out what's going on in the race. We have to go to where they are. They are watching the Stephen Colberts. They're watching the Jon Stewarts. And so, yes, I accept his endorsement, but like I told the people at the College of Charleston, I'm not on the ballot, so don't waste it. And I thought it was very clever of Stephen Colbert to come up with the idea that he couldn't get on the ballot, I couldn't get off. So he said, I will endorse my man, Herman Cain. And the 5,000 students that came out to that rally, it was energizing. And let me tell you something else that I noticed about that. Stephen Colbert had his humor. But at that rally, he also made some serious points. And when I gave my remarks at the rally, I also challenged those young people to stay informed, involved, and inspired. Challenge them to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem by not participating. And I happen to believe that if Republicans are going to win, we not only have to have a candidate that's strong and is able to address those ifs, but we're also going to have to make sure that the conservatives and the Republicans, the moderates and the independents, the evangelicals and the youth, and some disgruntled Democrats stay inspired, and we will be able to take back the White House. She had her hand up. I'll take it before I do.
About Colbert, but can you tell me, you guys plan to do any other appearances together? And also, in general, what's next for you?
I asked Stephen about doing some rallies with me, and he said, well, I got 167 TV shows to do a year. So we might be doing some on a selected basis, but he did say that he would be happy to do some video tapes for me that we can use to introduce me at the rally and things like this. So we will be, he really does want to try and help energize the college vote and the youth vote, so we'll be doing that. What's next for me is real simple. CainConnections.com. Go to CainConnections.com, and you will see that even though I am no longer pursuing the position of president, I and my team, we are still on a mission. That mission is to help the Republicans take back the White House and defeat President Obama. Unlike President Obama, there are many of us who believe that this country is on the wrong track. You just have to look deep enough below the surface in order to be able to notice it. And so CainConnections.com is where you can read the major issues we're going to be promoting. And the first one that we are going to promote the heaviest, and people can sign up on the website. We already